Likewise, great to talk to you. Yeah, I was walking, just taking my daily walk, and
Hmm.
I just got your message. You may not participate, and I said, okay, if Stephane can't participate, what can I do? And then I thought, okay, then I will talk to myself if nobody arrives. It's kind of a self reflection practice. So, because during my childhood, I like telling stories to myself. So I said, okay, it's going back to the old tradition. So
Hmm.
then I will record the session and share the insights. That's another way. Anyway, it's great to have you here, but it's a way of, I think I didn't react like, oh, what will I do? Oh no, it's a disaster. But I just try to be on positive mindset, growth mindset, and thinking, okay, alternative B, you can't attend, and then what can I do? So proactive mindset.
That was a great application of it. Same thing on my side. I worked to make sure I would be able to participate anyway, and I'm glad I've been able to, even if it was a busy and probably overcharged day. But the fact is, it's a great thing. I've been able. It's a great thing you've been able as well. So I'm real pleased to be there and have time to talk about the important topics we wanted to touch today.
So I think we will today mainly talk about reactive compared to active, or reactive compared to taking actions.
Yes, this is definitely proactivity. This is a good thing. We wanted to approach as well from a different other perspective, even the fact that um, we need to be proactive, but it's even more important when a crisis is human made, when we as humans are causing the struggle where we need to tackle. Essentially, when it's a kind of act of God, something that's happening without any control from us, that's one thing. That's an important thing. We need to find ways to react to it. But when it's us causing a struggle or a crisis itself, it's even more important to have worked and to work proactively, because it's our uh, responsibility as humanity, but also as individuals, humans, to get through it. And as you know, climate change is a man-made crisis. Essentially, many of those crises are man-made, but this one is definitely it's definitely the case. The IPCC just in the last report of the IPCC, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, said this summer, to make sure everybody would understand, it is unequivocally caused by human activities, because for years people were kind of denying it was man-made. In fact, that's the first non-proactive reaction. Essentially, it's to deny something. So, and we saw that a lot with climate. So even the IPCC find it important to say that, and in their last report, it starts like that. So it's unequivocal. That's the first sentence in the report. It's human made, and there, even if the scientific language of such a report is cold, sometimes it's clear, definitely this time, but that's it. We should not mask the fact with it that it's that we humans are causing that, but humans are struggling because of that. A lot of humans are struggling because of the downpours of rain, the huge wildfires, even melting of ice and sea rising all around the globe, which are accelerating, by the way, cause a lot of struggles to millions of people right now. So even if we'll be talking about proactiveness, we're not before the crisis, we're within the crisis, but it's time to look forward to find solution. And that's why I think you and I wanted to talk about proactiveness rather than just waiting and see if it will get worse. We know it will get worse. So we now need to do something. And it's not the only crisis. Sorry if I'm talking too much this morning or this afternoon on your side of the Atlantic. But the other one, which I'm concerned with, is the pandemic. It looks like we're repeating the same kind of denying with the pandemic. And we were told by scientists for months that if we're not making sure that everybody is safe from the COVID, it will come back. And we just have another example in the last few days with Omicron. So we were told that variants will come up. Anyway, we saw Delta a few months ago, and even the UK variant a year ago. So it's just repeating itself. We need to protect everybody, and vaccination inequity right now in the world is another example of non-proactive response. So we should understand that all countries need to have the ability to vaccinate their people. And poorest countries right now are struggling just to get 1%, 2%, 4% of their population. So this is definitely not. This will not make it if we in the more lucky countries, I would say, more richer countries, more resourceful countries, we're not helping them. We'll not be out of the wood until we're out of the wood. So we need to work together. A word you used last week, and it's really important in proactiveness. So together, working with others. Anyway, that's just to introduce the fact that it's man-made. The climate crisis, the climate emergency is man-made. It's not the only one. The pandemic, even if we don't know exactly what is the very first startup on the pandemic side, we definitely know that humans are causing an increase in the struggle right now because of a lack of responsiveness and proactiveness. So that's another example of that. So it's why we need to be proactive.
Yeah, those are really important points. I agree. And I think we need to go beyond and let's say see all these climate change and COVID-19 crisis, now Omicron anyway, new mutant, and also other challenges like mental well-being, uh, crisis, all these as cases. And we need to, I think, ask ourselves a very powerful question, everybody: what do we need to see behind all this? If we think these are just outcomes, but outcomes of what? So maybe at this point thinking, are we reactive, as you mentioned, or are we proactive? That is the main question. As far as I see, many of the, let's say, climate change interventions are reactive in terms of, let's say, that they operate from the fear or operate from the concern and operate from anxiety. Let's say that in 2050 our world will like that if we don't take action, or these are the very worst case scenarios, everything will be worse. Yes, these are facts, but how they are put on the table are operating from the fear and also anxiety. And we know, I will go a little bit biology here. It's operating from the fear mindset we call amygdala, as everyone knows. It's not only stress mind, but it is also fear mindset. And when we are in the fear mindset, there is no creativity, there is no collective decision, there is no future oriented solution, just trying to fix the solutions or find out solutions for the moment. But there is no proactivity. So when we are proactive, we are operating from positivity and calm mindset, relaxed mindset. That doesn't mean that we are not concerning, but it's a calm mindset, relaxed mindset, or thinking or getting excited, what can I do for this, and thinking about questions, how can I solve this problem, not only for today but also for future, how can I help others, and so on. But just I will shortly give an example from medicine. Over the years, all these chronic diseases, diabetes, are treated separately, and it was like fixing the disease, just giving the medicine or operation needed, and then trying to fix these diseases. And then it has been discovered that lifestyle change, and at the very heart, behavioral change is a must. And all behavioral change at the core of all diseases are same, like having a regular diet, healthy diet, physical exercise, sleeping better. All are contributing to better health, and they prevent at a higher rate cardiovascular diseases, diabetes, obesity, cancer. So that is what I mean, is just it is thinking about how we can do better, how can I take the responsibility, and how can I become more proactive rather than taking the medicine and curing the disease for the time being, fixing the problem for the time being, but rather than thinking, okay, how I will not have this crisis again, or how will I make it better. For example, let's say we are talking about reducing carbon emissions, not using plastics, and so on. But we are, I think, not focusing on, okay, these are great, but these are all reactions in my mind. And proactive will be, okay, let's say that, how about putting goals like, let's say, training 80% of children globally at school age about how to become leaders for a better world in terms of greener, healthier, and more sustainable, how to create awareness among them so that they will keep the world to be better. Even the actions we take now will lead to a better world. How they will sustain this model in future. So it's not fixing the problem, but finding out solutions for the long term. I think that is what we need, or what we are missing.
Absolutely, it's really greatly said. Um, we definitely need to be proactive, and it translates in so many things. And you gave us another reason. We need not to be driven by fear, and as you said, our biology tends to throw us in that way. So we need to think another way, not to be just reactive to problems, because reactive, whether it's caused by the fear, by the stress, or many other things that you mentioned, is not leading us to, I would say, a sustainable way of resolving a problem. So what we need to do instead, is to kind of work and to anticipate, or at least attempting to anticipate the future, and work towards the best of the futures we can see. And when we decide to be proactive, because it's a decision, we choose to act on a situation before it becomes worse. So even if we're already in a crisis, whether it's the climate crisis, whether it's the pandemic, we still can work to make sure it doesn't get even worse. And doing that, it empowers us. It reduces the fear, because we start to get a bit of control on what we're doing. It doesn't mean it will go exactly as we plan. It doesn't mean the future we envisage is exactly what will happen. But working towards this help us adjust along the way, and making sure we have the best of chances to do it. And as you said, it allows us as well to work collectively with others, because we can share these objectives, these goals. Doesn't mean that will resolve in a second. Doesn't mean that it will be magically appearing. We're not talking about magical thinking here. We're just talking about thinking with another mindset. It gives us tools. It gives us more chance to resolve it sooner and in a better way, in a greener way, if we're talking about climate change. Because the proactive way to approach it, it's kind of it's a strategy. We need to think as if it's a strategy, because we need to believe in planning for the future. So we need to recognize that seeing the problem, recognizing the problem, is not meaning that we're just fearful. It's because we want to understand what's up front, and we want to find ways to mitigate it or to resolve it fully. So it's an approach. So you don't see. You were talking about biology. So when men were in cave tens of thousand years ago, and they were facing a big bear or a lion. So yes, fear was definitely was appearing. But if those men and women at the time would have been prepared or would have been planning for a bear appearing in front of their cave, they would have given themselves more chances to fight against this bear. So even if they were suffering from fear a bit, they also were empowered to fight against this threat. So it's the same thing here. Yes, climate change comes with huge struggle. We can be stressed, or we can have fear because of that, for sure. But if we have prepared, we have a chance, and we can focus on what we've prepared rather than focusing on what our body asks us to focus on, which is being stressful and blocking everything. So that's giving us tools. The key word for me here is we're not let kind of alone with our fear. We have other things in front of us. We have tools, and that's coming down to the leaders in the climate action, because these leaders need to help everybody, help us, and we can become leaders. I'm not talking about the official leaders. I'm not talking about the governments necessarily. Maybe they can be, but I'm talking also about the leaders in the community, the leaders in the organization, the leaders in the family. That should help the others in the group see that it's important to be proactive. Proactiveness should be contagious. Okay, so we should infect others with this virus of proactivity, because that will fight the fear that will naturally come. Because when there is a big struggle, a big crisis, that's the normal reaction, as you said. Biology with us there, and that was for good reason. You need to react. If there is a big lion or a big bear in front of you, it's normal to be fearful, as I said earlier. But if you have prepared, if you have planned an exit way, if you have planned a way to fight back, if you have prepared to make a fire, or whatever the solution is, you're no more alone with your fear. You have something else. And if you're with others, it's even better, because a collective response to this crisis, it's always better than just one single person responding to it. So that was my small bit, my 2 cents on what you just said.
Yeah, that's really great insights. Yeah, I totally agree that we need to collaborate, and it's a collective mindset. But leaders also, as you mentioned, need to have a proactive mindset so that they can lead others for being proactive. And I think that is the new leadership style we need. Or there were that kind of leadership, but it wasn't common. But I think it should become the common one, if I can say.
I agree. That's the leadership 2.0, we can say. So
Yeah.
you're absolutely right. And that's the other thing I would add to this, the proactive mindset, is the inclusiveness. So we need to have leaders that are able to seek for others, not others just only in terms of the number of persons, but also a diversity of viewpoints, a diversity of background, a diversity of person. So that will allow the whole group
Mhm. Mhm.
to seek for even better ideas and a better solution. But that might be more challenging, making sure all diverse ideas are accepted, that everybody's open-minded. That might be a challenge in itself, but the results will definitely be much, much better. So I would say inclusiveness is another important item that's really complementary to proactiveness. They're working together. That's in the 2.0, the leadership 2.0 you were referring to, or I said to you the new leadership you were referring to. I think it's another key item. And think long term always.
Mhm.
Short term decisions always not always, often lead to wrong decisions. So that's why we need to, since we're thinking long term, that's why we need to have more viewpoints, and we have time, not necessarily a lot of time, but we have time to think and discuss and exchange with others, because the idea is not just to find a solution for tomorrow morning. It's to find a solution a resolution that will last, something that will be there and stay and will be sustainable.
Mhm. Yeah. Inclusiveness, yes, another dimension. And then, yeah, I really like the concept. Maybe we can bring new concept, leadership 2.0. That will be really nice on the next TEDx talk.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, yesterday I just saw a post about Mayor of London's health inequality strategy and what is new. And I was a little bit surprised. And there are 5 core teams, and one of them is very surprisingly for me is healthy minds.
That's
And
nice.
that's very nice. So I think it includes, yeah, we can say that healthy minds is also proactive mindset, and then
Mm-hmm.
it's inclusive mindset. So it's, I think people are getting there. So understanding the importance of mind or mindset.
Absolutely, I think it's getting more and more traction, and for good reasons. That's the
Yeah.
way to go. And an open mindset is also really important. So open to new ideas, open to the diversity I was referring to. So that's I really like the example you just gave, because as the humanity will need bold and ambitious actions in the coming years to fight against climate change, and the struggle that it causes, and
Mhm.
also all the other crises like the pandemic we were referring to. So we need to make decisive actions and initiatives. So that's why it's important that people's mindset would be all towards this positive resolution of all this. So we need to acknowledge the problem and then look at a diversity of possibilities, finding the best out of that and focusing to achieve it. So, and in a bold way, as I said, so ambitious way. It might be tough, because typically tendency is to look at the simplest or the easiest way forward. But
Mhm.
in a crisis, it's not necessarily the easiest way which is the good way. You need to find the best, and fight the worst of the outcomes. So that's asking probably for more and more commitment from more persons, but that's a so important goal that that we need to, and the mindset will be absolutely important. A, a positive and proactive, I would say, proactive and inclusive mindset would
Mhm.
be necessary.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think for decades or hundreds of years, we as human beings learned how to come together against a common threat or fear. And I think we need to now start learning and acting on how we can come together around a common passion, excitement rather than fear.
Absolutely. Mm, definitely. Fear should not be the driver for decision. Having worked in the energy sector and in the clean tech sector for decades now, I know that typically many stakeholders would prefer to do nothing because there is a risk you would be blamed if you're doing something and there is a failure. You know, when you try new technologies, the sector I'm in, there is always a risk. It can work, but it can fail. But if you don't try it, first, you'll never know. And second, you'll never have any chance to improve the situation. But fear-based decision would always come to, whoops, it's better to do nothing. So doing nothing for 1 year, 10 years, 20 years led us to this climate crisis. So it's time to do bold things and not based and decision, which would not be based on fear, but really based on, and that's why we need to have a collective effort, because one single person, just a few person, it's not sufficient. We need a collective effort, common effort, and common idea and collective ideas and openness to these ideas. So
Yeah, and I think we need again 2-0 leaders saying that, okay, if you
yeah,
make a failure, it's all okay. It's a learning process. So there is nothing
yes,
to get scared or concerned about failure. Focus on success and focus
absolutely,
on how to grow on this process. Don't focus on if I fail, oh, what a disaster. No, there is no failure. I think we need leaders like this.
absolutely
2-0.
right. Failure is part of the learning curve, and we'll need to learn quickly. And fear of failure is not the way forward. So we need to try things. We need to work together. Sometimes it will fail. Sometimes it will success, but we'll always learn from it. So definitely, it's needed in these critical times we're in right now. It's urgent to 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 react and work correctly. Doesn't mean, as I said, we need to look short term. We still need to think long term. We still to think collectively, but it's urgent we start to do that, to work collectively and think and use the leadership 2.0 pathway. Yes, I think we'll use it. I agree with you. That's the more I say it, the more I like it.
Yeah, 2-0 sounds really nice. So 2-0 leadership, okay. That's nice. So we will talk more about all this and 2-0 leadership, I think, on our TEDx event on 15th of December.
Definitely, we'll talk about women leadership, but
Yeah.
definitely the new mindset, the inclusivity, diversity, and leadership 2.0. You're right. That will definitely be part of the discussion. Looking forward to it.
Yeah. Likewise, I'm looking forward to. So it will be great. So
Absolutely. And it was great talking to you today, another time. And I hope you'll have a nice weekend. And anyway, we'll be in touch soon, definitely. And we'll be preparing for this great discussions we'll have on December 15th.
yeah, likewise, it has been great to talk with you, and we will, yeah, get ready for our talk. Yeah,
Yes,
to create an impact.
absolutely. Thanks very much. And
Thank
anyway,
you.
we'll be in touch. Bye bye.
Bye bye.